Hey, what is good, everybody? Welcome back. In the previous video, I believe we essentially ported our engine to VS Code, and then we basically took a little tour of our makefile, and we also did the Clang formatter as well. In today's video, we are going to do something pretty interesting. We're going to set up a pretty basic logger, which is going to look something like this, right? Because if you look down here in the console, right, like when we run our application, we have this text over here, but you can see that it just looks bland. It doesn't look very interesting. It doesn't even look any cool, right? So in this video, we are going to transform the way that we're printing out to the console, and we're going to update how we print out, and we're going to get our text to be formatted like this, essentially, right? And we're going to do that with the use of our custom logger. So we're going to build a fairly basic logger. um I decided not to do a very verbose logger, and I just decided to just keep it very basic for this series. I'm pretty sure you guys can just extend upon it and build out your own very advanced logger that has times and all of that. So ours essentially is just going to keep track of the file name, the line number, and then your message, right? And then each debug level has its own custom color, right? Whereby fatal has like a red background, and error is obviously red, warn is like yellow, and then info is just green, and then debug's like blue. And then if you want to like have some trace logs, those will be grayed out like that. So yeah, let's build it. This is gonna be fairly easy and fairly quick. So this video will be shorter than almost every single video I've ever posted in this series. So let's not waste any time and let's get straight to it. So what we need is we're gonna need a logger.h file and a logger.c file. So let's get those files in there. Actually, I made a mistake here, so let's just rename this and say logger.c. All right. So now in our logger.h, let's do a pragma once, and hold on. And then from here is we just want to basically set up our logger, right? So how do we want to use our logger, right? So what's our API? So again, I say this is going to be a fairly easy implementation, a fairly bare bone implementation of a logger system. So we're going to keep things fairly simple, and we're just going to do what we need, right? So we're going to need log levels. So I'm going to do log level like this. And then I'm just going to take this and paste it here. And then we are actually going to convert this to an enum. And then we're going to have our log levels, okay? So we're going to have, if you take a look at here, we're going to have a trace, debug, info, warn, error, and fatal, right? So we're going to go log level, and then I am going to say trace. Okay, then I'm just going to duplicate this a couple of times. So it's going to be trace, then it's going to be debug, then it's going to be info, and then I think it's going to be info, warn, and error. So info, warn, and then we're going to have error, and then I believe the last one is fatal. So let's see. So trace, debug, info, warn, error, and fatal. Beautiful. All right, so these will be our log levels that we need. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to have one function here, which is just going to be logger log message. And this is going to take in a couple of things, right? So it's going to take in the log level. So we're going to take in the log level, and then we're going to say level. And then it's going to take in the file name. So that's going to be a const char, right? This will be the file name like main.c or whatever file is basically logging to the console, right? So it's going to be a const char, and then we're going to call that file, and then we're going to need, let's see, the line number. So that will be an integer. Yeah, so I can just go with an int. And then we can just say line. like this. That will be line number. And then what else do we need? We need the message itself. So that will be a const char. So const char message like this, right? But now here comes a very interesting part. So the way that we want to use our logger is that we want to pass in a string. For example, let's say we want to print hello. Well, not hello, but let's just say we want to print some stats, right? And then I don't know, you're gonna need to basically put like a print out like what is this? I don't know, a value, for instance, right? Let's say 37. This is how we want to use our logger, right? We want to be able to pass in a string along with arguments, okay? And we want to keep this the same way that we use like a regular printf. Like for example, printf, you'd basically pass in whatever it is that you want to print out, and then if you had any arguments to pass through like a string, then you'll do like a string here, and then you pass in another string, right? This is the API that we want as well, and we want our logger to be able to be dynamic like this so that we can pass in any data type here and then have it actually printed out to the screen. So to do that, we need to basically add support for that feature as well. And to do that is that we're going to pass in the message, right? And then we're going to pass in the arguments, and I'm going to do that by just passing on these 3 dots, right? This just means any number of arguments, an arbitrary amount of arguments that we can pass in. It can be as many as you want them to be. All right. So yeah. And the way that we're going to use our logger is we're not going to directly call this function, although you can. But we're going to make this private. Like, we're going to make this function private in the future so that you can't just use it directly. And you probably just want to use a macro to access it. So I'm going to define a bunch of macros. So we're going to do define. And I'm going to do L trace. I'm just going to go in the order that we have here. So L trace. And then this one is going to take in a message and then arguments. So this is the API that we're going to use to log messages. All right. And then this is just going to call this function over here. So I'm going to say logger, log message, and then I'm just going to pass in the stuff that we need. So we're going to need the log level. So for trace, we're going to take log level trace. And then for the file name, we're just going to do something like file name. We don't have file name. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to say define. Define. Okay. File name. File, if I can just type file name. And this is just going to call some string function in the string library. So I'm going to need a string library. So I'm going to do include string.h. Yeah, and then from there, if I can just remember, we needed to let's just see. Let me see something here. I think it's string char. Yeah, we need the string char. Okay, function. And what we need to do is we basically need to pass this the file name, and then we're just going to essentially move until we find the first slash, and then let me see something. How did they? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. See how they did this. Right. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. So I'm just gonna yank that. Let me see. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, this is the one that I want. We on Mac, by the way. So if you're on another platform, essentially all you do is just replace this with this, right? So yeah, but since we're on Mac, we use the forward slashes. In fact, I guess we could just do something like if defined, if we're on Apple, for example, this is how you basically detect the platform, and then you'll do something like and if, and then all you can do then is just say and if, else if you're on a different platform, all you do is just take in this and just basically use these brackets, right? Something like that, right? Yeah, and that's about it. Okay, so then we can use this file name that we defined. And then all we're going to do next is we are just going to get the line number, and that one is already defined for us. And then all we do next is just passing the message. So this message right here, so message, and then VA args. So we're going to do, I think it was VA args like this. Yeah, something like that, right? And then we just, oh no, this is actually a macro, so we don't have to do that. I think we done here, right? And then all we can do next is just define extra macros for the other debug level. So ldebug, linfo, and warn, and then we need error, and then we need just one last, which is going to be fatal. So once we have all of this, we can finally start defining this function. So in our C file, so let's head up here and let's do an include. Let's do logger.h, and I'm just gonna come back here and just double check something. Yeah, okay, it's fine. And then in here we are just going to basically set this up. Okay, so this is it. This is our logger. It's just one function to print out something to the screen. We literally just keeping it as simple as it can be. So what we want to do is we want to add support. I can actually get rid of this. I was just researching how to get these things working and stuff. So yeah. So what we want to do is that what we want to do is we want to have these colors, right? So we're gonna have an array to store these different colors. Okay. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a const char. What do I want to call this? Text color, I guess. This will be an array that holds text color, the color for text. And then we're just going to say equals. And then I'm going to open up my array. And then I'm going to basically put in these colors. So I'm going to say one, I think it was a comma 30 like this. And then I'm gonna go, so this is the order. So this one is the color for gray, then we're gonna go for blue, then we're gonna go for green, and then we're gonna go for yellow, etc. Right? So right now that's gray. And then we're gonna go with 34, and then we're gonna go on, and then we're gonna go 34, 32, and then we're gonna go 1, and then we're gonna go 33. So, and then we're gonna go 1, then we're gonna go 31, like so. And then we're gonna go 1 again, and then I think it was 41. So that's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So those are different colors. Yeah, and then we can close this right here. And then all we need to then do is we need to import I think it was VA args. Is it VA args or stdr? I think it was std args. Yeah, this one. I'm gonna import this, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna say VA list, and then this is gonna be a list of arguments, and then we're gonna say VA start. Then in here we're gonna pass in the arguments list, and then we're gonna pass in the message. Okay. And then we're gonna say VA end, and between, oh, I have to parse this, and then here I have to close this as well. So then inside of here is where we're basically going to get the arguments that we're passing in here, and then essentially add them here to this message, append them to this message, like format them into that message, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say const char, then we're gonna say format at equals to string. Now we're gonna use a string function that we defined in our own string library, not the standard string library. So we're gonna do include gstring, which is our graphics string library, and then I'm gonna say string format v for VA list, and then in here we're just gonna pass in the message that we want to format, and then we're gonna pass in the arguments that we want to pass to that as well. So there we go. And then I'm getting an error here, a warning. Oh, it's never read. Okay, it's fine. Then all we need to then do is use that. So where are we going to use that? So I'm going to create another variable down here. So const char, and I'm going to call this the out message, right? The message that we're actually printing out. And then this one is going to be equals to string format, but instead of v, we're going to use the normal string format from our gstring library there for graphic string. And then in here, let me just see what this takes in. It takes in a message and arguments. So what we want to do is that we want to format our string. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say what I want the text color of level. So and then we want to basically have the formatted message in here. So the way that I'm going to basically do this, what I'm going to type in now is some codes that are basically used to format your string and change the colors of your string. Okay, so I'm just going to be a /0, and then it's going to be 33. Okay, then it's going to be like a big bracket, and then it's going to be the message or a string. Let's just do this s, and then all we have to do is just type in an m here, and then from here what follows is our message, the message that we want to send, right? So we can just add that as a string like so, and then from there we just close the color formatter, this guy. We need to close this. So to close that, I need to basically invert that bracket, and then I have to close it like this, and then I have to say 0 m, okay, and then we're gonna do /n like so. That's actually just for a new line. I'm gonna get rid of that closing bracket there, and then in front of this I'm just gonna repeat this 033, so 033. Okay, and then I believe that will just end our color formatting. Yeah, so it's a /033, then a bracket, and then a 0, and then an m, and then this new character line is just for us, right, to basically go to the next line. It's not needed for the color scheme situationship. All right, so now that we have the message that we want to print, we can then print this message. So we're going to use a normal printf, and in here we just essentially going to format extra things. So I'm going to close this, and how do I want to do this? I just want to put in like height main, and then /to trace. So I guess what we could then do is just do this s for main, and then I think it's gonna be a number, which should be a d for the line number. So s for main, so let's do this like so, and then after that we'll then have the message itself. So then here we can do the file name, then we can do the line number, then we can do the out message that we want to print out. And then I think with this we'll be fine. So then I'm gonna say free. I'm just gonna free the memory here, format it. So free, format it like this, Actually, I don't have this imported, so let's do include stdlib. Then we can make use of this free function here. So free, and then we're gonna free out the out message as well. So out message so that we don't have any memory leaks. And then what is this crying about? Const char. Okay, let's just cast this to a void pointer. This one as well. And then that should fix our issues there. And with this, I think we are almost done. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come down to our console here, clear, and then I'm gonna go back to our directory for the engine. Then I'm gonna run my make, try and compile this, and see if we get anything wrong. So it says, oh, so this should be in quotation, in quotes, I guess. Save, clear, try and run this again, bold this again. So then cd bin, then run our engine, and okay, so everything still works. So now let's go down to our main.c, and where do I want to print out? So let's do this here. So let's say ltrace. So we need to basically import a logger. So let's do logger like this, and then just about here we can say ltrace, and let's see. So let's just say trace and save this. Oh, just close it, then save it, and then clear console, then cd back into the main folder, make, then cd back into the bin folder, then run our app, and let's see if that did anything. So do we have, yes, we have trace. And if you look closely, unfortunately I can't zoom in, but you'll notice that trace is a different color, right? It's grayed out, which is exactly what we wanted, but it's actually happening for the trace keyword, I've just noticed. So if I do the others, like, let's see, trace debug info, so trace debug info warn error, and fatal, and then we basically say l debug, l info, l warn, and then l error, and then l fatal. And when I save this, close the application, cd back into our main folder, bold, then cd back into the bin folder, run the app, we should see, interesting. So this is the same color. So I think we made a mistake somewhere here. Yes, we did. So everything is in trace here. So let's go debug. Let's do info, and then let's do warn, and then let's do error here. Yep. And then let's do fatal. So save this, close the app, cd back, bold, cd into bin, and then run the engine. And when we do that, we get something that looks like this, right? It's working, right? The only issue now is the file name and the file line are basically just the same as these guys. So what is happening? So let's go to the logger and let's see, where are we doing the color stuff? Oh yeah, so let's take this, copy that, move it here, and then take this, copy that, and where do I want to do this? Possibly here. Do I want to put it? Yeah, I think why is this crying now? Let's see. Format specifies type char, but the argument is type int. Okay, yeah, okay, I see. We're gonna need this here, like so. And then I think since we're not using this there anymore, it's only the message itself. Let's see. Let's see if we got this right. So cd back bold, cd back into the bin, and then run the app, and we're getting there. Okay, so this seems to work. However, we're bleeding, right? We're bleeding this red color here. How will I fix this? You know what? Let's do this. Let's undo. Okay, let's undo. Like so. And then I think what I'm gonna do in order for us to get rid of that bleeding, we are just going to duplicate, right? So what I'm gonna do is this print out. Okay, I'm going to duplicate it and I'm going to paste it in here. Then we're going to print out the color that's formatted. Then this S belongs to the file. So I'm not going to put a space there. Then we're going to need a semicolon for the line number. And then we're going to do D for line. Then an S for the out message. So everything else still works. We only need to add this in front here, like so. So make sure that you have it formatted in best manner, and I think that will get rid of this red bleeding everywhere. So let's cd back, let's rebuild, and then let's cd into a bin. Let's run the engine, and voila. Beautiful. So we have an S being printed out here. Where is that coming from? Where is that coming from? NS. I think it's coming from here. Yeah. And then I think we already have a new line here. So we don't need a new line here. So save that, quit the application, cd back into the root, build, cd into the bin, run the app, and then let's see. Lovely. However, now we have this space in front, right, that I don't want. So where is that happening? So we have this. So remove that space there. Save your file. Quit the application. cd back to the root. Build. Then cd back in. And then run this. And let's see. Wait, what? Let's cd into bin and then run the app. Okay. Beautiful. We still have this though. We still have space. Wait, no, I think I did not compile. So cd back into root, build this, then cd into bin, then run the app again. We still have that space. Okay. Let's see. Why do I have that though? Oh, I think it's because of that, maybe? Because, well, I don't think so, because you see, this first one doesn't have it, but these two do. Unless it's just in here. No. No? That is very funny. But anyway, let's close this. cd back, build, then cd into bin, then run the engine again. We still have this space in between. I don't understand. I really don't understand. Maybe I need glosses, perhaps? Do we have space here? We don't. We don't, ladies and gentlemen. So, I don't know. I really do not know as to why it's doing that. But anyway, at least it works though, right? So, yeah. So, let me see something. Wait. Percent %s, then m, then percent %s, then we're basically printing out the line number, then we have space for the text there. Yeah, there isn't anything wrong here, to be quite fair. Mm, well, yeah, I don't know. I guess you guys can figure that out. um, but yeah, I guess you guys can figure that out. Well, I'll figure it out off camera and then do a patch for that. But nonetheless, our logger system works, and that's essentially how it's done. And then the one thing that we can now do is replace these guys with the logger system. So go into event C, and then here where you have print, all we want to do now is just say L error. Mm, well, we might have to import the logger, so include logger.h like this, and then here we just say L error, and then what we're going to do is we're going to pass in this message right here, so like so. And we do not have to pass in a new line character anymore because the logger handles that for us, right? um, and then we can also do this, so this one will be our info. So let's do our info, well, debug, because this should only be shown on debug boats anyways. So let's do this like so, and then I think that should work. So it should say event system initialized successfully. So let's test that. So let's quit, go back, build, then cd into bin dot slash app, and does it work? So event.c line 40, event system initialized successfully. Beautiful. So yeah, so then from there on you can just replace all our print statements with that. So you can just say I'll debug, do this, sorry, then just take this and then just paste it in there and then get rid of this. And that should just improve the quality of our console printouts. So let me just search for printf in here. So let's do printf. There is no result. So let's go down to input.c. Let's search for printf. And then here, I'm just going to say L debug. Oh, I'm going to need to import a logger. So include logger.h. And then everywhere we see a printf, just say debug. Input system. So let's just copy this, paste it in there, get rid of this, and then input system initialized. Do we have any other print statements in this function? No, we do not. So then I guess that's perfectly fine. And then I think, yeah, these ones are Objective-C print logs, so we won't really worry about that for now. And then I think we can do is just quit the application, cd back into the root, build, then cd back into bin, run the engine, and let's see our new debug prints. So event system initialized successfully, input system initialized, and we can see that this is coming from the event file, this one is coming from the input file, and these ones are coming from the main file. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We have a basic logger setup. We have a pretty nice looking terminal now. So yeah, so next video, I guess we'll set up some other quality of life things, and then from there we can set up our Vulkan. So cheers.